Welcome, dear students. The current session is on the establishment of an English academy. I hope and expect that by the end of this session, you would be able to understand what were the factors that led towards the establishment of an English academy and who were the people who played an important role in its establishment. Well, my dear students, history, if we look at it, we would understand that whenever in the real life there is a situation, people always look for precedents, people always look for models, people always look for examples or instances around to follow. So, no doubt the vital incentive that we had in the history of English language for the development of this English academy, it came from Italy and France. Italy and France had already taken certain measures to, for the establishment of, a purified language. So England followed in the footsteps and tried the same. However, this suggestion that was given at this time in the 18th century, this was not new. It was already given in the 17th century. Indeed, learned societies had been known in England since 1572. With the Restoration, discussion of English Academy, however, became far more frequent. And actually, in the very year that Charles II was restored to the throne, a volume was published with the title New Atlantis, continued by Esquire. That was in 1660, in which, as a feature of his ideal commonwealth, he said that an academy should be something to purify our native language from barbarism or solecism to the height of eloquence by regulating the terms and phrases thereof into constant use of the most significant words, proverbs, and phrases, and justly appropriating them either to the lofty mean or comic style. By the way, notice the spellings of certain words like style, for instance. So, shortly thereafter, the idea of an academy received support from several influential people, notably from Dryden and John Evelyn. And actually, Dryden was such a strong supporter of this idea that he took some practical steps regarding this. In the dedication of the rival ladies, that is in 1664, Dryden said, "I am sorry that speaking so noble a language as we do, we have not a more certain measure of it, as they have in France, where they have an academy erected for the purpose and endowed with large privileges by the present king." This academy should be supported by the royalty. It should be provided support in all the possible ways, as it had been done in Italy and France. So this society was founded in 1662 and with a main, scientific interest. However, it was 2 years after that, that is in 1664, that it adopted a resolution. It would not be out of interest to have a look at some part of this resolution. The resolution stated that there were persons of the society whose genius was very proper and inclined to improve the English tongue. Particularly for philosophic purposes, it was voted that there should be a committee for improving the English language and that they meet at Sir Peter Witch's lodgings in Gray's Inn once or twice a month and give an account of their proceedings when called upon. So, my dear students, basically, what was suggested was exactly the same pattern that was already followed in France, meeting after regularly after some time. The French Academy, the people were meeting after every week. Here the suggestion was to meet after every month. But the main pattern was the same and even the tasks were the same. The committee had 22 members, which included some very significant names like Dryden, Evelyn, Spratt, and Waller. These were the people who played later on a very, very significant role. Evelyn's once unable to attend the meeting, he wrote something and sent it to the meeting because he thought it was important. And let's see what was his view. He proposed the compilation of a grammar. He said that a grammar should be compiled and some reform of the spellings, particularly the leaving out of superfluous letters. Extra letters, he thought, that were not required should be, removed, and this whole process should be done. This is how he expressed all this. He said, lexicon or collection of all the pure English words by themselves should be done. And he said, then those which are derivative from others with their prime, certain and natural signification, then the symbolical, so as no innovation might be used or favored at least, till there should arise some necessity of providing a new edition or of amplifying the old upon mature advice. Basically, he proposed a detailed plan of what should be done. He further suggested that there should be collections of technical words, all the exotic words should be collected from, different dialects, and different expressions should be collected. Archaic words should also be, revived. Thus, he, provided a plan for a complete overhauling of language. Finally, he said that translations might be made of some of the best Greek works and the Latin works so that those could be used as models for, all this process. Dryden was, I would say, the moving spirit behind this academy, and he was the driving spirit behind the Royal Society. Well, he was not a pioneer of this academy, but he was one of the significant members, and he played a very, very strong role in this regard. He was actually a very strong advocate of the academy. At the end of the century, the idea somehow was clear through, the speculations of all these people that an academy needs to be set. It was in 1697 that Defoe, in his essay upon projects, devoted a complete article to the subject of academies and proposed that there is a need for various academies for the standardization of language.